Last 2 minutes. We'll have 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, okay. Social, economic, environment. Probably the three pillars. Brooklyn Commission stated as fulfilling our current needs and requirements without compromising the future. But I rather, or more or less partially, agree to what educator of sustainability, Michael Thomas Needham said, that probably meeting the requirements of present and giving to the requirements of future. Very good morning to all the delegates, guests, rather I would say innovators and change makers. It makes me immensely proud and honored to present in this podium in something which I believe is more or less more towards human beings and mankind. Sustainable development, according to Swagat Bannick, is nothing but meeting and developing the aspects of human life and simultaneously in pursuit of economic prosperity, social equity and environment equality. Yes, the best said, triple bottom line. My presentation will be a testament to everything which was rightfully said by Dr. B.N. Reddy and Dr. Jitendra Das throughout their presentation. The presentations would complement each other and also reiterate the fact that how important and what we all are doing about here is about finding out the innovative solution, how we can embed education and sustainable development together. This photograph taken by Bill Anders in Apollo 8 mission probably shows us how fragile Earth has been and always thought about according to human beings. This was the picture which was taken in Apollo 17 mission when Sun was exactly behind Apollo and rather one of the most produced photographs in scientific magazines and publications of Earth. Now my point of showing all these photographs is to make you understand that how fragile our Earth is, and that is why the discussion on sustainable development. This is a photograph taken by Wildlife Central magazine wherein these are the outskirts of Mumbai and how we change the makeup of our planet. Probably this is the best testament to how we change the makeup of our planet. Deforestation activities account for about 20% of our carbon dioxide emissions. Dr. Das and Dr. Reddy emphasized about how human traffic in our planet contributes to pollution and thereby a major driver for not attaining sustainable development. Vehicular emissions are a major contributor for a bigger cause, that is global warming. If you see the graph, you will consistently see the carbon dioxide in parts per million in our atmosphere since 6 lakh years behind the current year. And when we go ahead, we can also see the carbon dioxide and temperature in this atmosphere. But as we grow up, this is what is today's concentration. And according to today's consumption, this is what it will be after 45 years of consumption. Again, I want to reiterate that this is what it was shared by our earlier speakers. But what is the most important thing about observing is the geometrical or rather macro-geometrical progression of the carbon dioxide concentration in our atmosphere. Population growth throughout history has been quite balanced until we came across 1000 AD, wherein it took a huge leap, and this is where our current state is. Take a look at what would happen in Bay of Bengal should Greenland melt. Here 60 million people will approximately lose their homes, and not only that, we will lose the enriched wildlife of Sundarban. This is what IPCC concluded, but this is something which, ladies and gentlemen, will be a reality if we don't think about how sustainable we are in environmental front. We are already seeing the beginning. Sundarban mangroves, which really contribute for the betterment of our atmosphere, have already lost by 20% in the last 40 years. That's what satellite images say. When we talk about people, profit and planet, warmer temperatures also change the monsoon weather patterns. We regularly hear from Meteorological Department of India that rainfall is approximately average and normal as earlier years. But the most important thing to notice in their statement is that in some of the states, rainfall has drastically increased, and in some of the states, rainfall has drastically decreased, which more or less amounts to the same average figure. But the most important thing is there has been an imbalance. This is what will be our food security map look like in the next 60 years if the current trend of consumption continues. If you could see, the subtropical and tropical regions of the world are most prone to this kind of event. The only and only reason being what? The reason is majority of the crops in tropical and subtropical regions are in the cusp, are in the peak of sustenance to the increasing temperature of humidity and climate. So, what we expect is will gradually be a sharp decline in productivity and yield of crops in future. Talking about climate changes, they will not only reduce agricultural yield, but talking about figures, India may lose up to 17% of its farming income from increase in temperature, as quoted by Yale University in 2008. Wheat yields would fall by 5 to 10% with every increase of 1 degree Celsius, as quoted by Dr. R.K. Pachauri in 2008. Again, talking about environment and people, one of the attributes of triple bottom line, temperature would not only act towards people and environment in Sundarbans, but it would also act towards flora and fauna which are existing in India. Probably, ladies and gentlemen, I can literally say India is bleeding if we don't control and attain sustainable development as far as biodiversity and ecological balance is concerned. Vector-borne diseases. Now there is a certain corridor where vectors operate in the current temperature and climatic change. Now the current climate change is a major driver for most of the vectors operating throughout the year. And what we gradually see in our country map is majority of disease-borne vectors will start operating throughout the year. You will start listening about diseases like dengue. We have seen isolated cases like dengue being happening in Nepal. The only reason being the bacteria which used to carry, the microorganism which used to carry dengue is now operational at an altitude of 4,400 meters, which was earlier being very operational and effective in 500 meters. The simple reason being increase in average global temperature. We all discussed about Copenhagen outputs and all the Earth summits which India attends, and India being a developing country is quite on a safer side. It is always a debatable topic that among all the countries, developed, underdeveloped and developing, India is in a fairly middle line wherein India's per capita carbon consumption is very less. Now what is the reason? Is India claiming to be safer because India really has got very less carbon footprint? Why India is currently a low carbon economy? That's what our ministry claims, that's what we all agree, and that's what is the fact. But the real reason, is it because we carpool? Is it because we recycle? Is it because we eat less meat? Is it because we conserve water in this way? Or is it because 400 million Indians are living in dark? Indian poor and Indian rich, there has been a very big divide. And if you see the carbon footprint of Indian rich people, and if you see the carbon footprint of Indian poor people, the upper side is actually more than the global average, and the lower half is actually quite below the global average. So which really, balances and offsets it, and which comes back that India is a low carbon economy. But this is what is the truth. A more ambiguous, contradicting question when we talk about sustainable development is it possible for a country to be rich and efficient? Now, very contradictory statement. I mean, when we're talking about energy efficiency, a country has to be really developed. On that point of time, the country has to be rich as well. Now, if you see the major countries, or rather the major geographical patterns, Southeast Asia lies somewhere near very highly energy efficient, but they are very low as far as GDP and per capita is concerned. When you talk about the G7 and G8 countries, they lie much ahead of the curve. They lie somewhere in between, moderately energy efficient and very high productivity. But what is the sweet spot is the block in license side in the quadrant which is not filled. Probably you have very high GDP per capita and you have the highest energy efficiency. That is what is the most coveted position to be attained if you have sustainable development. Human development indicators correlate strongly with increased electricity consumption. I feel electricity is directly proportional to human development and is one of the major drivers, as discussed by Dr. Das and Dr. Reddy, about India's current power crisis and how we can deal with it. And probably sustainable development in energy sector would be one of the answers to it. Some of the states like Orissa, Madhya Pradesh are the states which have got highest amount of hydro and irrigation projects. But to face the fact, they are one of the major states which borrow from other states. The reason being, those projects are not effective. If you see the index, you will see that India is probably very close to 0.6. That's right, and that is where Italy, UK, Japan, USA all stand. Now, all these countries, Norway, Iceland, USA, Japan, Italy, UK, Greece, it is called band of non-achievement. Why? Because after a certain level of electricity consumption, the human index doesn't grow up in y-axis, but rather only the x-axis grows up. They go on consuming more and more electricity, but the human development index remains very stagnant. And this is probably how I can link it with climate change, warm and high density nations because they need more electricity, that's but obvious. Can India get here? It's the most important question. But if India wants to get here, at what cost? I mean, India needs approximately 2 tons of energy per person, and this is what is the developed country's average, and this is what is developing country average. So what is the average gap in between that? 5.5 tons of world average, that is in 2005, and 2 tons is the world average which is going to be in 2050. There's quite a big difference. Now, developed countries really want to meet that difference in terms of using more amount of resources and energy from non-renewable energy counterparts, which is 49% of energy in the US is derived from coal. Now, can India afford to meet that gap and come to that human index level? Well, that's a big question which we should answer. Probably you, the change makers, innovators, and we as youth leaders in this platform are here to discuss about. That's how management education can probably provide the right platform in terms of blending and sustainability, and we can head towards this gap. An important solution is raising awareness. This affects the choices we make. I would like to conclude by saying that sustainable development in India is being governed by 5 M's. Now, wherever I go, I say this, and probably I feel it's the right one. In India, 5 M's stand for M for money, M for media, M for mafia, M for ministry, and M for muscle. The point of time when we start governing all these attributes and address sustainable development, probably we can feel that we can overcome the hurdles, the hiccups, and try addressing for the bigger cause. If I try to personify and take this frog as Swagat Bannick, now I want to jump inside a hot boiling stuff. Now probably if I jump in, I will feel the heat inside the tub and jump back. Now let's take a case study 2. There is a tub, Swagat is inside the tub, and slowly the tub starts getting heated. I will be unable to feel the difference because my body will slowly get adapted to the difference. And finally what will happen, the temperature will be so high under the tub that I'll be killed. So, sustainable development is a buzzword. Some say arguably that it is a debating word, some feel it is vague, but the real truth is sustainability is difficult to attain and various factors are attributes of it, but sustainability may be as hard and as tough as bamboo, but remember it has got its own delicacy and fragrance like the sea. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Swagat Bannick.